Hi, good afternoon, more or less, also from my side. Thank you very much. As stated, it's about adoption, and if we speak about adoption of digital assets and crypto and Bitcoin, especially, it's all about what does it really take to bring us as a crypto industry to finally grow up and mature even more. And this is exactly what I will answer in the next 10-15 minutes here, and also happy to discuss afterwards if you have any question in that regards. My name is Lukas Enzersdorfer-Konrad. I'm Chief Operating Officer at Bitpanda. And for the ones of you who haven't known us in the past, Bitpanda is the leading digital asset investment platform for retail people in Europe. We have more than 1.2 million users. We're in the space since 2014, and we are 180 people situated in Vienna, Austria. So we are not just in the space quite long, but we are also used to work in a highly regulated environment, as Austria, Germany, as you know, is always, especially when it comes to financial services, quite regulated. So when we talk about Bitcoin, when we talk about crypto, there's one thing. Before 2017, it was completely unregulated. There was nothing. It was completely wild, wild west. This was 2017 the place, and this was 2018 still the case. And since the beginning of 2018 in Europe, suddenly the regulators, the financial market authorities, legal bodies and authorities jumped on the topic and said, okay, hey, we have to somehow secure our retail market, we have to somehow introduce regulation. However, what happened then, different regulations and regulations of different levels were introduced in different countries. So you suddenly had a quite strict regulation in Germany, you had quite no regulation in other countries in Europe, and since then the level of regulation was all over the world not really worked out in a way if you compare it to the traditional financial market regulation. So if we think about that now, beginning of 2020, it is a little bit of a different picture. Why? Because AML5, the Anti-Money Laundering Directive 5, got introduced by the European Union as beginning of this year, and is finally the first regulatory framework, so to say, where cryptocurrency companies in the crypto industry in Europe is regulated within. So this is the first time legal framework applies to more than one country within the crypto space. Because if you think even about the US, they are also segregated, you need different licenses, there is a difference in between each state there. Now in Europe, the first time, it's the first try of getting a more harmonized framework of cryptocurrency regulation. And if we think about what does it take from the initial question to the crypto industry really to grow up, it's exactly one of these first thing, it's regulation. So one thing is regulation. And this is now where we are step by step getting into. And from our perspective, it's definitely the right one, because you only can work in an environment long-term facing, not just on a B2B relationship, but also in a retail relationship when you work in a regulated environment which ensures trust, security, especially to retail customers. Second topic, if we speak about what does it take for us as a crypto industry to grow up, it's about to realize that Bitcoin and crypto will never be mainstream. Why? Initially, Bitcoin was envisioned as a currency which is not state-owned, and as we all know, Bitcoin and crypto now is definitely not a payment token. It is an asset. It is a high-yield, high-risk asset class, which is highly interesting for investors, retail as well as B2B ones. It has certain characteristics which makes it even more interesting for these user groups, but it will never be the payment token which it was initially envisioned. And if we therefore speak about what is the second thing and the second pillar, what it takes for us as a cryptocurrency company to really let us grow up and mature, and in the end bring adoption even further, it is the realization that crypto is not payment, crypto is an asset class. And if we speak about that, it's also important about one thing. People don't care how it works, and that's fine. So if you think about the mass market in retail, and if you think about probably back when you first got your when you got your own Bitcoin first time, I got that 7 years roughly ago. It was all about getting to know what the blockchain is, understand the proof of work concept, creating wallets, storing private keys, really taking care of all these technical things where you need, first of all, a technical understanding, and second, for sure, affinity to really do that and the will to properly do that. And if we speak about mass adoption and people really getting interested in that area, nobody cares. Nobody cares about the technology. Nobody cares really about what is behind this asset class. They are interested in owning it. They want to have a Bitcoin, and this has to be simple, and this has to be really fast, and they do not want to wait for it. And they also do not want to read a lot about that. They just say, oh, okay, interesting, I want to buy. And so for us, it's really about realizing that it's not educating people a lot about the technology, it's about educating people about the asset class and why that can be a valid and value-adding point for you as an investor. So what does that need? It's convenience, because Apple didn't explain how a computer works. They just made them user-friendly. So for retail investors, retail mass market adoption of crypto, it's key that convenience, usability, high-class user experience has to be in place in all of our solutions, platforms, mobile apps, so that they really can easily use that. Why? Because otherwise they just don't care. They do not want to dive into that technology. Especially in a time of negative interest rates, which the Western Hemisphere is completely forced into and currently locked down, you have no other choice than to invest. You do not want to have your money, especially, or probably only about last week and probably beginning of this week, but despite that, you do not want to have that on your bank account. You want to have that invested, and you do not want to have that invested into traditional assets. You want to have that also invested into high-risk, high-yield assets, and this is exactly why this convenience is needed, so that people really can adopt it and people really can jump on it. So besides regulation, second topic is this whole convenience part. So people will also never understand Bitcoin in that whole regards, but they understand financial freedom. And you will get only financial freedom if you, as a retail person, invest part of your money or all of that into a market. Because if you invest money, you invest into your future, and you will have more out of that in the future. And this, in the end, is financial freedom. And crypto adds exactly value as part of that to really help you as an investor to get financial freedom. So it's about breaking down barriers. Regulation, for sure, to sustain that you as a business operate trustworthy and safe, but convenience to break down barriers and entry barriers that the retail investors can easily invest into Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. But what is the third topic? And if you will think, what is needed that everybody can invest fair and transparent, there is a third dimension and a third topic, and this is tokenization. And I know it's a buzzword, but just let me give you a short story out of my life when I first bought stocks, financial instruments, 15, 17 years ago. For sure it was about getting a bank account, getting a custody account at my local bank. This was even not convenient, but that's not the topic. It was about how to really then buy the stock. And you can buy stocks only with a minimum amount of 1. So you cannot buy a stock with €1. You have to buy the minimum nominal value, 50, 60 euros, or even more, 1,000, for example, for really larger corporations as of now. So you have to have that amount of money at least for that stock. Second topic is you have to buy it between Monday and Friday. So I had to buy it on a Tuesday afternoon during bank opening hours and especially capital markets opening hours. Monday, Friday, 9 to 5:30. A third topic, once you are now owning a stock, what can you do with it? Nothing. You can only sell it once you said, now you gained the value you wanted to get out of that. And if we speak about transparency, if we speak about fair in investing, we learned 3 things from Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, which is, first of all, that you can buy fractions. Hey, you can invest already with €1 into and get some Bitcoin exposure. Second topic, 24/7 tradability. So you can trade the markets 24/7 all week long. And third topic is transferability. I can transfer you actively a Bitcoin. And if we now think about what does it take to let us as an industry grow up, but also for retail, from a retail investor perspective, is tokenization, because this is exactly how to bring these three main characteristics of Bitcoin and crypto, of the characteristics of the token, to other asset classes. And in fact, everything that has value will be tokenized. Why? Because exactly tokenization is adding these characteristics to assets and to other asset classes. And this can be, besides cryptocurrencies, traditional ones like stocks or ETFs, financial instruments. This can be commodities like precious metals. And this can be illiquid illiquid assets, where like real estate, like IPs, like art, for example. And I know tokenization is quite a buzzword, and in the last year, a lot of people talked about it, but we at Bitpanda really said, okay, let's think about how could that work. And besides being able to offer cryptocurrencies on our platform to customers, we made it, users are able on our platform, so to say, to buy gold, buy silver, buy palladium, and buy platinum, so precious metals, in a tokenized, digitized way. So tokenization is the third part, and just to give you an insight, exactly, these are our four assets. Just to give you an insight on how have we done that? Because tokenization is always like, yeah, just tokenize it, issue a token, then this works. The main issue lies again in point number one, in regulation. How to structure that it really works. And how have we done it? We bought a lot of 5 kilograms of gold bars, large ones. We stored them highly secure in Switzerland in a vault, insured, fully insured, and then tokenized it and issued digitized tokens in our database based on these assets. So we enabled our retail customers to buy to highly competitive rates gold. Why? Because we are buying 5 kilogram gold bars. We have scaling effects out of that, and users can directly buy a fraction out of that gold bar through buying a token. They legally buy physical gold. This is the really interesting part. So even that they buy a digitized, tokenized asset, it's fully packed by physical gold, and therefore legally also physical gold. And therefore it's just a physical gold trade, even that it's done digital. Second topic with the token, you can easily trade it 24/7. So we are doing market making on weekends for gold prices in that regards. This is for sure a risk perspective, but we developed a quite sophisticated risk framework on that. And also on the other side, if you can deal with Bitcoin and crypto, you can deal with volatile assets, and precious metals are not as volatile. So this is then the second part. And the third topic is you can send around the token quite easily. So this is exactly how we showed the tokenization of assets can really work. And this is then the important part. So for us as an industry, it's not just about stick to the rules. It's not just comply to that. It's not just about adding convenient platforms and solutions for our customers just to buy Bitcoin. It's also about bringing the characteristics of Bitcoin to other asset classes. And this is exactly when tokenization kicks in. Why? Because everybody should be in charge of his financial freedom. And this is exactly what we believe at Bitpanda, that no matter the budget or the country, if you have internet, you should be able to access the financial world. So in the end, it's really about investing, and everybody should be able to invest as easily as Bitcoin and crypto showed us, also into other assets. And I believe that these things will lead to mass adoption as an asset class for crypto and Bitcoin, and will bring it to other asset classes. And this is the really interesting part for Bitcoin and crypto from our perspective for the next 3 years. So tokenization, I would say, let's see how this will work out in the long run, but it's definitely the key thing in the future. Yeah, thank you very much.